We are live streaming.
Oh yay, oh yay. Please everyone pay attention. We are now live streaming. This is the hosting. It is a question and answer session for nominees for the Barony of Glaedenfeld. Questions have been put on a Facebook page. Fred allowed the members of Glaedenfeld and anyone else who wanted to turn in to present questions to the nominees. The nominees are going to answer these questions. This is more of an interview style. We are not really up for discussion. This is to present the questions, and if there's time allowed, we'll have some open floor time. Master Alexander is the representative for the Kingdom of Shinnesaw, and as such, I'm going to turn the operation over to him for the rest of the evening. The final question at the close of business tonight will be my question to the nominees, and it will close the situation, close the process. And after that point, those nominees that are still wishing to run will be their names turned over to Kingdom for a ballot. So please, folks, pay attention tonight, and thank you.
Thank you, Sir Baldrick. I would remind everyone to please silence their phones. I'm going to step over to the side so that I can address the audience as well as our panel. Your opening statements, if you choose to make them, as well as your answers, are limited to 3 minutes. You don't have to go that long, but you have to stop at 3 minutes if you can hear. There will be a green card with 1:30 that shows up when you have gone through 1 minute and 30 seconds of your time. There will be a yellow card with 2 minutes when you have gone through 2 minutes. There will be a red card with 2 minutes and 30 seconds telling you that you have gone through 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to wrap up. The timer will go off. Everybody will hear, just like at whatever award show it is that I don't watch that they play music. That is your cue to stop. I brought a copy of the rules. Does anybody want to go over them, or have we all looked at them previously so we know what they are? All right, nobody wants to listen to me read a bunch of things. That is so good. We are going to draw cards to determine speaking order. These are naturally heraldic cards. But the backs are the same for everything, so nobody can cheat. We're going to draw this as aces high. If one of the two of you would select. One of the two of you would select. And if one of the two of you would select. Okay. Suit does not matter. What numbers do you all have? 4. Ace. Ace. Jack. Jack. Aces are high, so we're going to start in the center. We're going to move along the right. So we're going to start with them.
Oh, you mean you take the card back?
Yeah, my cards. You did the heart. You got me. Thank you. My wife's the heartbeat. That is good. The first part of this is an optional 3-minute opening statement from the couple. Let our first couple determine whether they wish to make an opening statement.
Are you going to introduce them for the viewing audience?
No, I thought they were famous enough that they. I will introduce them because that would make a great deal of sense. We should do what the sensible Pelican says. So this is the Honorable Lady Juliana and the Honorable Lord William. Sir Griffin O'Sware and Mr. Stephanie Heatherwood. Master Corbin de la Rue, or Master, Isabella Santa Clara. It is my French. So again, if you would like to.
We're not going to make much of an opening statement. We're very flattered to be nominated, and we'll let our answers speak for themselves. Feel free to refer to questions or want to clarify anything.
Well, have you followed up with that? I'll try. Good evening, everybody. Stephanie and I are truly humbled by this nomination. We're honored to stand with our co-nominees. We feel that Glaedenfeld is well represented by the new Barony Baroness the Crown selects. We consider the baronage as the ultimate service to the barony. If we're selected, we will put the baronage first and foremost in our SCA activities. We promise to listen and consider your ideas. We promise to provide guidance and counsel as needed. We will challenge you all to grow and improve as individuals. We will support the continued growth of our group. We will place a special emphasis on recruiting and retention of new members, having fun and interesting activities at our events. We also want to focus on hospitality. We would like to see Glaedenfeld host more regional activities such as AMS workshops, Bible practices, and potlucks. We look forward to the opportunity to represent the group as Baron and Baroness, and we thank you for your trust in our ability to do the job.
And I have a little bit of a cough that gets worse as I talk. So Griffin will probably be doing most of the talking, much as it pains me not to run my whippersnapper.
Wow, we get to follow that, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. We want to take the opportunity to thank the Shire for having enough faith in us to have us nominated so that we can sit up here and hopefully be a good representative for the Baronial, not Shire anymore.
I just want to say that I look around and I see these individuals next to me that are just amazing people. And for me to be considered to be one of them is just a really deep honor. As Sir Griffin said, the trust that has been placed in us, whoever ends up being the Baron and Baroness, just the fact that we were considered, to me, is a very, very good honor.
And we hope that give you an idea of where we're coming from, where we want to go, what direction we want to take. And if there's something you don't get, please always talk to us.
All right. We will be taking short breaks every hour because this can go for a while. I have printed up and put on slips each of the questions that were submitted. Put it up in front of everybody. We will say we brought out the hat. That is my Hermes hat, and we're going to be going Greek in this case. None of these questions are a secret. The only part that's a question is in what order are they going to be pulled? Which only the fates will know. I can't remember all the fates' names, so I better not try to remove them. Sorry? Do you remember? I know it's called black and one is like pieces.
And a trouble.
A trouble. Not you ever want to get on that.
Tempting the fates, tempting the fates.
All right. So all the questions are in the hat. William and Juliana have the opening statement. So the first question is going to go to Griffin and Stephanie. The next question will start with y'all. We're going to go in this circle the entire time. And the first question, number 10. Will your reign have a theme? If so, what? And will you expand upon it on occasion? Like say you were Persian. The Baroness comes into court on a platform with belly dancers behind, or you are a hunter, come into court with your huntsman, etc. I think what I'm asking is this. Will your reign have pageantry? If so, how would it be executed? I could expand on this later if someone wanted me to.
All right, well, she said she's gonna let me talk, so here we go. Persona or culture-wise, no. Our reign would not have a particular theme. Neither of us are particularly persona-driven. If the group hosts a themed event, we'll make every effort to be the best representation of that theme we can be and participate fully in the event. Pageantry-wise, we plan to take care with garb and accessories to make good impressions. And we plan to always have the most well-decorated pavilions we can as we travel to events. We'll sucker as many of y'all into standing in court with us as we can and give you as much chance to laugh and participate as we possibly can.
You will? Pageantry. Well, we're French. Duh! I mean, it kind of goes without saying, being late period, we do expect to have a lot of pageantry as far as our court would be concerned. Will we make everybody in the Shire or barony follow suit? No. We would ask that entourage go late period with us if we want to carry that presence and have that time period fulfilled. We'd like to ask for banners to be made and decor that would match our time period. Bring it up to the 9th, maybe. You know, make it as special and as awesome as we possibly can.
Okay. Yes, actually, we would intend to absolutely have pageantry. The details of which primarily we would plan as we go along. It's our goal to make a really great show. We want to have exciting, fun courts that everybody really enjoys going to. So yes, lovely costumes and garb, and we would absolutely not require that the barony as a whole go with a particular theme, but you know, if we have a themed event, yes, absolutely we would go with that. But otherwise, yes, just lots of pageantry, lots of lovely outfits, and yeah. There you go. All right. No, you're not supposed to be nervous. This is fun. Standing in front of a bunch of people and talking, what more could you ask for? The next one is actually number 11. In the previous Glaedenfeld barony, there had been some great concern over the barony's impression and reputation with those outside the barony that then viewed to be poor. Will we have perhaps a position or officer tasked with maintaining relations and building our reputation with the surrounding kingdoms and shires? A dedicated liaison officer or an ambassador, perhaps?
Well, it is our personal opinion that the Baron and Baroness should be that ambassador. We are the ambassador to the crown. That being said, it would be my expectation and Corbin's expectation that each individual in the barony would serve as an ambassador. You are that representation of what this barony is. How you act, somebody's going to look at you and think that's Glaedenfeld. We don't need a specific officer. We need everybody to step on board and be the liaison and be the ambassador and come out and show the rest of the world just what Glaedenfeld is.
And I agree that the Baron and Baroness are the most visible representatives. And there is a significant responsibility there for them to present a good face. However, I think that whatever negativity that existed for Glaedenfeld in the past, we have, as a group, have moved so far beyond that. We have really worked hard to make Glaedenfeld a positive presence in the kingdom. And I don't think we'll go down that path again. I think that we're going to move forward. And I think that we're all going to represent Glaedenfeld in an appropriate and positive manner. It's not just the Baron and Baroness. It's, like you said, it's everybody. And we are doing that. We as a group are doing that as a shire, and we will do that as a barony. I have no doubt.
Well, I think we're going to hear a lot of echoes on this one. William and I also both agree that the most visible and obvious ambassador will always be the Baron and Baroness. They are, to some degree, the face of the group, technically. They can only represent what's true to them. And if this is a healthy group, that is what they have to present. If it's an unhealthy group, well, that's what they have to present. Putting it on a good face on it doesn't change truth. So much as Corby and Izzy were saying, the Baron and Baroness present a public face, but every single one of us is what builds that reputation.
That would be my job.
Goodness,
sometimes we'll take a second to reset the timer because we want to be perfectly fair to everybody, which is a motto.
My turn?
Yes.
I would just say ditto what Izzy and Corbin said.
It's like they were in our heads.
They're right, they're in the road.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I would add, though, this is going off script for us. I think we forced into the ground 6 ways from Sunday. And if anybody's bringing it up, that's their problem, it's not ours. This is a new group. We have brand new people here. There's only 2 of us that were still playing now that were in the variant at that point. So I don't think that's an issue that we should concern ourselves with unless we see it starting to pop up again from our current membership. Then we can cross that bridge. But otherwise, we all represent the group, we're all ambassadors, very Baroness, whoever it gets to be, or whoever it gets to be, will be the face of that. And that's great. We will all, in this group, do a good job of representing the Baronial Glaedenfeld.
All right. Next one. Question number 3. In general terms, what is your style of conflict management?
Okay,
Yes, this is us. Okay.
William and I have very different styles. I tend to want to be a negotiator. Okay, we have a problem, get everyone down together and talk it out. William tends to be a go-between. Something we talked a lot about when looking at this question, though, was one, making sure that we as Baroness, if we need to step in, don't come to conclusions. To figure out what's going on and sit down and talk things out first, before dealing with any issues. And also, part of conflict management is knowing when to step in and when to not. As Baroness, we don't want to be parents stepping in anytime to people. Yes, because that happens anytime you get more than 3 people in a room occasionally. So I think a lot of our conflict management style is judging when something has become a large enough problem that it's leading over to the barony and then needs to be addressed, and then addressing each situation one at a time. And I think I'm good.
We are big fans of people who have issues with one another, trying to talk those issues out amongst themselves before they get the higher-ups involved. We find that generally that works out better for both parties. If the problem does go through the chain of command and gets to us, then we will obviously try to solve that problem in the best interest of the group, and not necessarily the best interest of the individuals involved. We are a big believer in the SCA grievance policy. We'll be happy to go over that again at a separate time if we need to. If the problem directly concerns us, though, we hope we feel comfortable coming to us directly to talk about it. If we will try to be as objective as possible, try not to get defensive, try to work with you to get a solution, and we'll certainly agree we prefer to have a mediator there to help you. We will also try to follow the chain of command as best as we can. That's it.
Well, Corbin and I have very different styles of conflict management anyway. Being a school teacher, you have to, not necessarily parent like Orlin said, but you have to take care of problems that pop up at any given time. A lot of it does depend upon the situation. I generally tend to be one of those individuals that I'm going to take care of the problem when I know it exists, and I'm going to go out there and we're going to make sure it gets fixed. If someone has a problem with me personally, I will generally go to you and say, hey, something is not right, what's going on, how can we fix it? I, having watched school children sit there and pick a fight with each other and having to be a mediator between two of them, I do have that going for me. I am used to saying, knock it off. Why are you smacking him upside the head? Why'd you put gum in her hair? You know, that kind of thing. So I don't mind being the mediator. If there is an individual who is causing a problem in the group, a lot like what Griff said, it's the health of the group that's important, not necessarily the feelings of the individual. But that being said, it's one of those where I would probably take someone else along with me. We'll have a private discussion. If the problem does not get fixed, we'll kind of go from there. I like to put out those forest fires and do what I can to make the problem go away as quickly as possible, but not at all of the group.
I tend to be a mediator by nature. I don't like conflict. I really have a strongly ingrained sense of fairness, and I don't like things that appear to be unfair to me. I will attempt to seek harmony. I want everybody to get along. I want everybody to have fun. But I do understand that sometimes there is conflict. I do try to find diplomatic solutions, and I do take all sides into account. It just goes back to fairness. I owe it to you to listen. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to hear your side. I want to do the most good for the most people if I can. However, I am a realist. I do understand that sometimes you do have to make some hard choices, and sacrifice the health of the group for any one person or faction. I think the group is mature enough, and I think we can talk to each other. And I think that being a diplomat and a mediator would serve me well in trying to keep that harmony in the group. So, and that's all.
Good to see you. Keep on. Question number 2. What are we as a group not currently doing that you would like to see us start doing? And the counterpoint, what are we as a group doing that you would like to see us stop doing?
All right, this is going to be a jumbled answer because we kind of do the 2 questions as one. We think that business meetings need to be held consistently instead of switching nights and locations. So we can try to work that out. Instead of rigidly adhering to formal ANS nights, we think the group can be more flexible. There seems to be a lot of interest and attendance at the Wednesday sewing circles than at the scheduled Monday night classes. We would like to explore that format some more of the informal things. We'd also like to provide a little more structure to the business meetings to streamline it. Baldrick has done a great job developing the agendas and the time limits that we have to talk about things. We think there are a couple other steps that we can take as a group to build on that, so that we're not sitting there talking over the same dead horse for 2 hours. And maybe then after we cut some time out, we could go and start doing that dinner after we're doing before that we keep talking about coming.
The things that we're not doing that we would like to see us start doing, we are as guilty of this as anybody else, but we need to, as a group and as individuals, we need to attend fire practices and ANSs a little bit more often. If all of us can pick at least one fire practice and one ANS over the course of a month that we're not already doing, and try and go to that, just up the attendance a little bit more. I know it's hard with work, school. We'd like to increase the social aspect a little bit, make the potlucks more regular than they are. And again, try and do some before and after dinners around the meetings so we can. We'd like to promote classes designed to improve personal kits, or to do more SCA workshops maybe on Saturdays instead of evenings, so that you can do something start to finish for golf course, so you have your own bench or a bench. We also like the group to consider some kind of community or charitable work, whether it's in the SCA or outside of the SCA, and not necessarily huge presence, but once a year, maybe we can help out at Music City Marathon. We did that before. Or maybe we can do something within the SCA to like the scholarships that were suggested, to just kind of make us more aware of our blessings and what we can give to everybody else.
Well, we can only have great minds think alike because there is so much concept. What are we not doing that we would like to see us do? I think we need to have more activity and more interaction with neighboring groups. As a Barony, that is one of our programs. We need to be here as a rock and support for the other groups that are around us. We'd also like to see more support for local fighter practices and dance. It's hard to show up at practice and instead of fighting, we're handing out business cards and talking to people that are interested. Not that we mind, I think we've recruited for just about every kingdom in the SCA, except ours. But it would be nice to have some kind of support there that could field those questions. We'd also like to see some of the newer and less experienced members become more involved in planning and organizing Baronial activities. And those of us that have a little more experience, be the guides, be the mentors, support them in their new endeavors, help them grow so that we have a very well-rounded representation throughout the
In addition to Isabel's statement, I would also actually like to see more active recruitment in the local area. As she said, being in the park where we are for private practice, we get a lot of tourists. And we recruited for a lot of other kingdoms, but I think that there are a lot of untapped opportunities to grow our ranks here in Glaedenfeld. And I'd like to see us get out there and do that a little more and just show the love for what we do to the public. Something like a newcomers mentoring program or similar things. I'd also like to see more social cohesion, just outside of official functions or even at events, just having a stronger togetherness with the Glaedenfeld presence at events.
And what are we as a group doing that we would like to stop doing? We spend way much time talking about ideas and plans. We talk about an idea and then we put it up for vote. We talk about it some more. We put it up, we're going to vote on it. We talk about it some more. Then after we voted on it, we still want to talk about it some more. We need to move forward. We need to wrap things up and get it taken care of as we best can.
Just a really quick touch on what you said about the less experienced members. I think that we need to look to those newer members and not so much the senior core group to do everything. I think that the core people need to be a support. But I think that the less experienced people need a chance to step up and shine as well. And I think we need to stop kind of looking to that core group.
Thank you very much.
A lot I did over there.
Yeah.
I didn't write out a huge paragraph, but basically, in general, I think we're a very healthy group. If we weren't, we wouldn't be ready to take this step. The primary thing that I would like to see us do that we aren't doing and not do that we are doing, kind of is actually very related, is we have in the past had a very laissez-faire kind of attitude towards we're going to do this thing. And, we'll kind of get there and kind of like what you were saying, we'll talk about it, we'll do this thing, we'll talk about it some more. But over the last year, we've really seen a lot of improvement in that process. That's cute. We've seen a lot of improvement in that process in the way that we have started working together, started growing in and actually buckling down and working on projects and getting stuff done. Part of the reason why we're here actually is because we did that. So we've come a long way and I think we can go a little further. anything to add?
I think, we discussed some concrete things to do, most of which they just suggested.
And we have another answers.
So I'm gonna go with a lot of ditto. And I think we're done.
Okay. And our guest star just on this.
That's not fair bringing in the cute back.
Yeah, really.
People helping us.
All my cuteness got old and moved out of the house.
Do the way, do the way.
We already tried that earlier.
It worked out better.
I actually checked, there have been a couple of posts back on Facebook, so I presume there are people watching.
Hi, people watching.
There are six.
6 viewers.
7 now.
Welcome to the party.
So who's watching on
All right, question number 16, which will begin with French. What personal characteristics make you,
No, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
what personal characteristics make you feel that you would do well?
It's always a difficult task to sit there and self-evaluate. What do I bring to the table? My ability to multitask. Again, as that classroom teacher, you run around doing about 10 things all at once and you have to do it well. The ability to socialize and get along with a wide variety of people. My son gets it honestly. He can talk to a brick wall and be happy, and he does come by that honestly. I do have a very strong personality, and I know how to get things done. Used to being in charge of the classroom, several different types of personalities at once. And I'm certainly not afraid of doing dirty work if something needs to be done. Like I said, I'm one of those, it's like my principal says, it's my way or the highway, but it's one of those things where it's fairness. I do take into account what everybody else has to offer and what they want to suggest, and maybe make things better. Listen, I love to listen.
In contrast to my lovely wife, I have a strong ability to monotask, meaning that I set my mind to a single goal, a single task, and I can be extremely meticulous and methodical. I can get things done with precision and attention to detail. I can also be very diplomatic and compassionate, as I mentioned before, believe it or not. Seeing all sides of an issue is something that I'm really good at, and I do tend to try to work toward beneficial solutions for as many as I can. I have, again, a very strong sense of fairness, and I value logic very highly, so I'm going to think things through, and I'm going to make decisions based on that, not emotion. And if I need to change my mind, I'm willing to do that. I can be very flexible. If somebody brings up a better point, and I'm gonna listen, and I'm gonna think, if the logic is there, I'll change my mind. So that's about it for me.
Who's next?
In general, that I'm an exceedingly patient person, and having dealt with a number of other barons and baronesses, that seems to be a large portion of the job, is that you are pretty much herding cats. I've actually seen that in the description of this job in places, and that patience, I think, will be one of the guiding factors that I will need to have to do this. That said, I'm also fairly logically minded, being a developer and an IT person for many, many years, and am dedicated to fair play. I don't want to see anybody treating anybody poorly or incorrectly. You know, we'll deal with that if that happens. So that would be, I think, my biggest thing to start with.
I tend to have an innate need to make sure everybody is as happy as they can be and that their needs are met. As a result, I'm willing to sit, listen. I want to know what people's worries or concerns are so those can be met. I think in general, I tend to be fairly open and approachable. Another strength that I have is that I firmly believe in putting people in place who are good at their jobs and then trusting them and doing my best not to micromanage so that they can help me do my job and with Mr. Barony as a whole running and functioning and working my job. And I'm done.
I think some of the things that I do well is I have the ability to see multiple viewpoints. So I try and get all sides of the story and balance where people are coming from. I really like to see others achieve their goals. So I tend to be pretty good at facilitating that. I've managed to develop a fairly strong network of people, but if you do something really well, hopefully I know somebody that I can toss you at and throw you under that particular bus, so that you can be challenged and spread your wings. I had people who did that for me, and it did me a world of good, and I want to be able to help other people achieve their dreams. I will say that despite all of that, I do have a somewhat limited tolerance for unnecessary drama. There is a degree of necessary drama sometimes, and we have to work it out, but there's a point at which it really needs to stop. And so I'm pretty much willing to say we're good. We're good.
Sure. I think the biggest thing that I bring characteristic is a loyalty to this group. It dawned on me today that I have been here for 26 years. In this group, I have a commitment to making sure this group succeeds. I hold myself to a very high standard of performance. I probably all of y'all to a high standard too. And the other thing that we didn't talk about that came to my mind that I think we bring to this, they might have a little more of this experience. Experience with Crowns, experiences with the SCA, experiences with the board of directors, team officers. We know the ins and outs and workings of how the SCA works very, very well. And I think we can use that to our group's benefit.
Question number 8. What will be your level of participation in local activities, classes, meetings, and social events? I'll start with William.
Okay, of the different scheduled activities, we have fire practice every weekend, live weapons, every occasional sewing night, A&S nights. Of all those different activities that we do, were we the Baron and Baroness, we would, at a bare minimum, attempt to be at one of each of those events or activities every month, and certainly more if possible. We would want to be sure that we would have a very visible and approachable presence to all areas of interest within the barony, because, I've been members of another barony that the Baroness was not extremely available, and so it doesn't. That would be our goal, would be to be there, available as much as possible.
Good. Thank you, Berthor. While we anticipate trying to attend a wide range of activities, classes, practices, potlucks, and everything else, we have a 3-year-old, and we have to balance work, family with the SCA. It's been our observation that people who do too much SCA and not enough other things outside of the SCA probably become overwhelmed, they lose perspective and they burn out. We're about balance, we're about perspective. We want to be as active in the parent as we can be without running ourselves into the ground.
Running ourselves into the ground because the bear is very good at all.
So we're
Corbin and I are fairly active as far as activities within the bear goes. Obviously, since one of us is in the group, Great Marshall, we're in practice all the time. We have loved doing social things with each other. We try and do anything inside, or at least I try to do anything inside. It's not exactly what we say. But it's one of those things where if one of us can't be there because of family concerns, the other will try and represent. It's one of those things that sometimes the activity might feel more with one of us than the other. And if the other has a strong interest and strong support, then we'll be there. It is along the lines of, you've got work that you have to attend to. Fortunately, we don't have the problem that the other two have. Our babies are grown, all more or less. So, it's not an issue having to leave a 15-year-old a bag of stuff in the refrigerator, eat dinner, you're cold. Your brother's right there, it's all good. And we have a really good working relationship.
As has been mentioned, the work and family thing, that does interfere with our play sometimes. But as they're in Baroness, we would understand that we do need to be there to support the group. We do need to be there to support the different activities. And honestly, fighter practice and, A&S nights and archery, we like what we do. We like what you guys do. And, we would want to be there for a lot of that stuff. I mean, granted, A&S, not so much, sewing for me, things like that. But
We could teach them, so teach them, we could go down.
but we cover a large, between the two of us, I think we cover a lot of those interests. And, we would try to make that effort as much as we could to be at things. And we like the company. I mean, we like everybody here, mostly. Well, wait, no, we like everybody. Wow.
That's not empty yet. This question is number 14. What plans do you have in regards to making Glaedenfeld the best barony in Meridia's and the role model for other baronies to, I didn't write that word down very well. Achieve. You did, good. That's going to begin with y'all.
Okay. We thought about this question. We decided we're more concerned with being the best barony that we can be. For us, that means being completely reliable. Getting the reports and paperwork done, keeping our activity levels high, making sure as much of the populace travels as much as they can, hosting fun events that are affordable, profitable, provide excellent kingdom level events, and to have and continue to build on our reputation for being able to put on a kingdom level event at the last minute and do it well. We want folks from around the kingdom, around the known world to come and enjoy our events, put our events on their calendars, to trust us to do great feasts. We want to develop a reputation for being a fun group, for being hospitable, and we want our populace to be happy and content. We can do that. We think we'll be the happiest river group in the known world. But that's not why we should do those things. We should do them because that's a standard every group should strive to achieve.
We don't see it as a competition. We just see it as being the best that it can be and letting the other groups figure out how they can be the best they can be.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to feel this one. And actually, A lot of ditto there. Apparently think a lot alike. But I think that we would want to encourage the development of all the diverse activities that we do, and have a broad skill set amongst the populace of the Baronial, so that if there were a need, that we could fill it. Also, I think we just really need to do what we're doing. You know, we want to excel in service and fighting, in all the things that we offer. And I think we do a good job of that already. We just need to do more, and we just keep doing it. Also, the king level events, I think we should at least do one a year. And even maybe try for a known world event at some point to show, you know, what Glaedenfeld can really do, because I think we can do it. I mean, we do have a good broad base here with a lot of skills and a lot of knowledge. And moving forward with that, I think is the best plan we have. So.
We wouldn't be here if we didn't have some of the best people in society. Y'all are Barony, and we say, improve what we got, we can do it.
All right, I'm with Chris. It's not a competition. What makes us the best and the best that we can be is that we do everything they just said. We are everything we've already done before, putting together events, being leaders, building our activities internally, etc. And what makes us the best, especially for us, is at the end of the day, after we've done all that, we still like each other. Done. I thought it'd be so fun.
Sorry. I just want to add a couple of things, because we went through some serious note taking, and I just want to add this because I think it's important. One of the things that we'd like to do is we'd like to encourage a lot of cross-cultural, as it were. You know, we have fighters on one side, we have ANS on another, we have cooks over here, we have archers over there, and I'd like to see some crossing of those. What I'd like to do is, you know, encourage fighters to teach classes about fighting for non-fighters. Encourage. Sorry.
We had talked about yearly projects or something like that we could do together as a group,
Right.
and cause a lot more cross-pollination.
Right.
And we're trying to a fair amount of, but it's always good to encourage.
Right. And actively encouraging public demos, working with all the groups in the Barony to help actively encourage these newcomers. Because we want these newcomers to find their niche. We've had some people show up and they come in and they kind of look around and they get lost and they kind of meander off to the wayside and we never see them again. We want to encourage that when we get these new people in, one of the best ways to grow the Barony is, you know, bring people in from the outside, find them a place where they can love what they do and love the people that they're with. And that's how we're going to grow people, keep people here, and that's how we're going to really be the best Barony that we can be.
Thank you all very much. We have plans on taking a break once an hour. And we're going to take a break right now. It's going to be very short. We're going to leave the thing running on the, you don't have to sit here and film. The necessaries are down that hall, and I'm going to suggest that the panel have first crack. Everybody breaking once an hour in your release.
You have to talk to Alvin and Alexander. I was asked to do it because I'm not biased.
Well, it's
Not
Treating like a software camel.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have all our nominees ready to go again. Once I get my camera lady and timer back, we're going to get started again. Mr. Spion, are you ready? Yes, I did. As we get situated to take on the next batch of questions, I'd like to thank a few people. Lady Sarah, who is providing the hotspot, so that we can actually broadcast this out. These two people up here who I haven't been introduced well enough to remember their names right now, who have arranged the space for us to do this.
John and Elizabeth.
Who's John and Linda?
These people who just came up with the space that we're currently in.
Okay, what are you trying to show? It's showing them the appropriate.
Yeah, wave your hands.
Those two people you don't know.
The two shadows.
Yeah.
The ones that are saying, please get the camera out of my face.
Mr. Spiana is going to turn the camera on herself because she's our camera person. And Gertis Berthor, who's our
There,
timer.
they know it's me.
You know you're over there sitting.
Okay, now we have 0 viewers.
Okay. We're good. The last question I'll say with Ruth and Steph, so y'all get you'll have the first crack at this question, which will be question number 17. Would you consider making guinea pigs the official baronial animal?
Wow. While the idea of an official animal is a cool concept, the determination of said animal should be made by the entire barony, not just one individual, or 2 individuals, meaning myself and Corbin. An animal with Greek theme would probably be a better fit, considering, the Athens of the South. And maybe an owl or serpent, or maybe a minotaur or something along those lines. Maybe a griffin!
Yeah! Plan.
You know you want to.
I just want to say I got bit by guinea pig once. I still have nightmares. So, thank you for bringing up such a painful memory. Give me a nice cut, lemon juice. Sorry. The idea of official animals is interesting. We do have a lot of symbolism that I think that Glaedenfeld is wanting to use. And that's going to be, a lot of that's going to be up to the group. We did kind of look at a group theme, because it hasn't happened to themselves. But again, that's not something that the Baron and Baroness necessarily are going to decide on their own. I mean, that's something that is going to have to suit the whole group. So.
In short, no. We were seriously considering the hairless mole rat. Long answer though, pretty much the same. If we have a Glaedenfeld dedicated animal, it would be based on full input. And I think there would be a meeting or two involved and probably some shouting and screaming. So, but yes. Friendly shouting and screaming, but you know what I mean.
If you're brushing the donuts, I can be talking to a parrot. No, more seriously, it would be something to consider with the whole group.
Push your button.
Because we have a new guest star tonight.
All right, for once, I do not have a comedic answer. Can you believe that? You know, we'll just say ditto to what they said. That would be a group decision, not a decision of any fairness. I would add that roughly a third of the people that are sitting in this room were there when we had this discussion about themes. And we all talked about animals specifically, and we all liked the idea of the owl. And we presented that at a business meeting, and everybody seemed to like that idea, or at least no one voiced any major objection. So I would hate to waste that time that we all spend the time and effort on it. But if the group wants to talk about it, we can certainly be open to whatever period we discuss. So thank you. You may push your button now.
Alrighty. Next question is number 18. What is your opinion on whether a Baron or Baroness of Glaedenfeld should be allowed to hold a kingdom-level office during their time as the Baron or Baroness, and if allowed, would said person be able to do proper justice to their jobs? And we're going to begin with William.
First of all, we don't think it's something that necessarily needs to be put into policy unless it becomes a continuing problem. I would say that once someone is volunteering on this level, part of service at this level is realizing what's a reasonable amount to take on. And I hope most people would look at that and choose not to do those things quickly. Most kingdom level offices, particularly the greater offices, and the Baron and Baroness are full-time jobs and need the full attention of the person who's doing them. So if somebody asks my advice, I would strongly advise against it. And last, in the spirit of full disclosure, it's a relatively small office, but I am currently holding the Dean of Performing Arts position for Rome, and we'll be giving that over midsummer after this current run. And I think you have to press the button.
I would point out that you're holding baby James, who is performing arts. So, we talked about this as a group, especially when it came to fighting the crown list. I don't view those as being a lot different. But our Stephanie and I's opinion is, should they be allowed to hold the kingdom level office? Yes. Would we recommend it? No. It really depends on the job they're going to do. Some are a lot more demanding than others. Neither one of us plans to hold the level office if we're selected at the very next. And as Arlen, or Juliana, excuse me, pointed out, in full disclosure, Stephanie is the secretary of the Board of Pelican, but that's not a key level office and doesn't involve a whole lot of work that I'm looking at their responsibilities.
And that being said, we wouldn't presume to dictate to somebody else what they can determine for themselves. If somebody else feels that they're entirely capable of doing a human level office and being a mayor and appearance, then I'm gonna trust them to know their mind, and I'm also gonna trust them to, assess whether they hit that point of, maybe I bit off more than I can chew, and turn one or the other over, or they may just be the most awesome dual office holder administrative person on the planet, in which case they have my blessing.
And Glaedenfeld cavalcade of stars continues.
All right, well, I'm going to kill this one because, reasons, which I'll explain in a minute. I think it really, as has been said, depends on the person in the office. Obviously, you shouldn't be the Baron or Baroness in the Kingdom Seneschal at the same time. That would be kind of a conflict that I wouldn't want to see. However, in minor or unrelated Kingdom office, as long as the person was dedicated to both jobs and they could do the jobs, then I wouldn't see a problem with it. For full disclosure, I am currently the Secretary of the MOB. I'm also the Dean of Military Studies for Rome. Both of those will be going away next year. However, I will be stepping up most likely as the Kingdom Rapier Marshal at Gulf Wars. So this question does kind of have some meaning for me because that's going to be a job. And if I were to have to do that and to be Baron of Glaedenfeld, I think that I would be willing to do that because I'm extremely dedicated to both of those things. Both the group and my love for Rapier and wanting to see both communities grow and be the best they can be. So, would it be a burden? Would it be a struggle? I don't know. But I do think that a person who was committed to both of those things could do it. So.
Since we're doing full disclosure, I indicate the review a very minor office.
Back to the hat. It's like Lidsville. Does anybody remember Lidsville? Ooh, y'all
Maybe it's a viewing audience.
what?
Maybe it's a viewing audience.
Maybe the jury audience remembers Lidsville. Question number 12. Why do you want this job? And this gets to start with
That's the guy who asked it. Yay! We feel that we have been practicing for years as this job for providing guidance for the people in our group, holding a sort of a mom and dad of the group position, providing support to everybody that asked for it, needed it, or couldn't stop us from doing it. No matter what happens, we will continue to offer that support and that guidance. And we really like doing it. We like the opportunity to do it in a more formal capacity, and it will continue to challenge us. For all the work involved in doing the job of Baron Barons correctly, it also sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. We'd like to have coffee.
Sorry. For those of you who may have missed out on my opening statement, we talked about all this stuff fairly extensively. And we're pretty complimentary on our views, so I'm just trying to avoid hacking up a moment. So we're all pretty much in agreement on most of this stuff.
All right, for me, why do I want to do this job? several years ago when I was the seneschal of Glaedenfeld. I know Sir Griffin asked me this at one point, what is your goal for the shot? So I want to see if there again. I would like to think that I helped lay the foundation that we build upon and got us to this point right now. That being said, I kind of like to see it through to the end. I want to make sure it gets taken care of and done right. And I can't think of another group that I would want to be prepared for.
As long as I've been a member of Glaedenfeld, which I moved here in 2001, so it's been a while. The members that I have interacted with and met in this group have supported me. They have encouraged me. I have become a better person by far being part of this group. And what I've found here is I've found wisdom, I've found strength. I found comfort and friendship here. If I can help the barony, if I can help it to grow and become greater, like it's helping me to grow and become greater, then I'm obligated to do that. I have an obligation to see it be the best it can be. And, you know, as Isabel said, there is no other group that I would want to be the barony of than Glaedenfeld. It's an amazing group.
People have fun.
This may almost be a new point since apparently Sprite has decided that she's going to crown herself Baroness.
Okay. Just a quick statement to my fellows up here. We have a member of our barony who is a little bit hard of hearing and has requested that we attempt to speak a little louder, perhaps use our court voice even, he suggested. So, you know, just a little bit louder if you don't mind. So, to the question, why do you want this job? Because I feel that we are a great group of people. And I want to help grow this fledgling barony in a way that I can't do or couldn't do as well, I think would be the better way to say that, as a member of the populace. We have it in us as a group to be an awesome, awesome barony. And with the weight of the coronet behind our words, we would have more power to build and encourage people and help grow this barony in healthy directions. There's no one in this barony that I don't consider a friend. There are a bunch of really awesome people here. My goal, though, is to bring us even closer together. And, you know, using a phrase that Waldrick has used repeatedly, I would like to just knit us into the best damn barony in the known world. That's my answer. Oh, wait, we've got a coronation going.
This group has inspired me. This group has allowed me to grow up in it. Right now in the SCA, I would like to give back the same. I was inducted to my first polling orders a few years ago, and the first time that I got to stand up before when we announced someone inducted them was rather mind-blowing and awesome. And the fact that I can help people differently as a coronet and as an individual to bring them to those points, to help them grow in the SCA and by themselves is very inspiring. And I'm about to cry. Buttons are very good. Oh yeah, serious.
I think we're done.
We're done.
Next question is 7. How do you feel new officers should be chosen? This will begin.
That's me. Oh, boy. Yeah, my notes are in disarray. Hold on. There's, it really depends on the position. Things that are directly related to the Baron and Baroness, helping them function, things like, travel coordinator. I think the Baron and Baroness should be given the opportunity to choose those, because they have to work with them. But as far as general offices, that would be, you volunteer for it, you put in a resume. The populace and the Baron and Baroness all would have a say in that. So, resumes turned in, volunteers stepping up. And I think if somebody is particularly good at the thing, they may need to be nudged into an office occasionally. But serving in office, I think, should be limited. I know we have talked about term limits for the Baron and Baroness. I think that should apply to all the offices. Everybody should get a chance to serve in the various offices, maybe a 2-year limit. So that's about all I've got.
I think too, the officers that are chosen should again be deputies and train these people up to the job right.
Absolutely.
We actually spoke a great deal about this, actually. And we are of the opinion that when looking for deputies, the position should be announced by the office holder or by the seneschal or, somebody in court. At a meeting, I'm tired. With a call for volunteers and a set deadline for people to volunteer. The officer will then make a decision in consultation with the seneschal and, if necessary, the Baron and Baroness. And the reason we'd like to do it that way is because as the group becomes larger, it's harder for these new people to see where a need is that they can volunteer for and be involved. And this process, announcing it at a meeting, letting people know that it's available, would help some of those newcomers maybe to find their niche, find some office that they're interested in and willing to take and try out for a year or two.
To add a little bit to that, we were really only, when we talked about this, discussing the named offices, so we didn't discuss things like, that was just sort of the Baron and Baroness, like the travel coordinator. This would not preclude nudging people into an office. Hey, volunteer for this. But it also, and it would not guarantee that one of those volunteers got selected. Sometimes you have no one to step up who's well suited. But it would make the process very open and clear for many people who do not naturally see the ins and outs of how a group functions without clear process. And I think that's all I had to add.
Stephanie and I talked about this, and it dawned on us that the system that we currently use works pretty well in that an officer will stand up at a meeting, they'll say, hey, I'm looking for a deputy. And they might do that for 2 or 3 meetings, and the real problem is also getting someone to volunteer to be the deputy. And then we have to, as Juliana says, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, start kicking people into the office. That's probably the real issue that we need to address in how officers are selected, is getting more people to volunteer to do the system we have is not a bad system. We just want more people to step up as deputies. We would like whoever the current officer is to choose their best replacement from the pool of volunteers in consultation with the social
And, no, I have a thought, but I lost it.
We're gonna have another question. Sorry?
Oh,
Question number 13. What do you see as your greatest challenge in being B and B? That is.
Okay. So, contrary to what you might see in front of you right now, I have to say my greatest challenge being Baron, or with her as Baroness, I am not a public speaker. I get nervous, and she's not really either. I'm actually pretty shy about speaking in front of people. I fake it pretty well though. So really, to start out with, at least the first 2 or 3 courts probably, that would be my greatest challenge, is actually getting up there, sitting in front of a crowd of people, addressing people, giving awards. It would absolutely terrify me. So I'm kind of nervous myself right now.
For me, it's not that shy. But part doing the actual day-to-day work, as my deputy currently will tell you, I'm not good at delegating. I've been working on it past year. I've improved a great deal. But it's sometimes hard for me to let go of the reins. And there's a lot involved in this job. And it's going to take more hands than just me. And I have to be willing to say, okay, you do this. I don't have to do it all. Nor should I try. Other people need to be included. It does not always come naturally to me. I think that's my greatest weakness by far. And anything else? But we're good.
Who's got? Rick and I both will say this. I'm scared we'll do something wrong. It's taken 20 years to get to this point, and it's been 20 years of a lot of hard work on a lot of people's parts. And I know we're going to screw stuff up because we're human and we're fallible. I just worry about doing something so irretrievably wrong that I'll just want to go into a rock, under a rock, or whatever. So dealing with the fear of doing something wrong. Other than that, for those of you who are not aware, I do tend to have introverted aspects to my personality. Interacting with lots and lots of people that I'm not as familiar with is going to push me pretty strongly out of the comfort zone that I have nurtured for 50 years. So it's a challenge for me. And again, I want to do it well so that everybody is comfortable. And I have to deal with my proclivities for procrastination. I am awesome at having a really good deadline so I can go crazy 12 hours before it's due. And I'm going to have to work really hard at being managing my time.
For me, it's not killing her for procrastination. And on a much more serious note, I am terribly afraid, and I'm afraid that I'm failing myself, and probably more so each and every one of you. That is the biggest concern that I have and my greatest challenge.
For me, it's controlling my impulsivity. I tend to give knee-jerk reactions to things when I need to stop and think. There's been many a time where I've gotten a nasty email from a parent, sat down to type a reply, in the computer and waited for 3 or 4 hours until I got my head straight, and then gave the proper response. Being a peer has helped me because you can't always say what you think as a peer. You want to, but you can't always do it. Making sure that I don't overextend myself will be a challenge because, I like to do all the things, all at once generally. Done with that multitasking thing. But that's probably going to be the biggest challenge for me is knowing when to say, no, I can't do this. And it's one of those things that teaching 4 classes this year, I have said, okay, no more. I can't do any more. You're going to have to find somebody else to do this.
I think my biggest challenge really, I don't do people well. I mean, I don't feel,
Understatement of the year.
yeah. I am not a social person, I'm sorry. Some social situations exhaust me. I just, big crowds, dealing with parties, you know, just having to deal with people for long periods of time. It's very exhausting. I tend to feel very strongly toward the introversion side of the scale, like some others. And I think that I would be okay, because I have over the years, obviously, I've learned to control the social anxiety, at least to some extent, but that it's still challenging. And, you know, so I may need some help from Isabel.
The extrovert.
Who is the extrovert of the two. But that would be challenging.
Question. And this one is number 9. What is your position on the Order of Valiance? Did I pronounce that correctly?
No.
Valiance. And this one starts with.
We want people to get the recognition they deserve. We don't really have any particular view one way or other about board director creating the new event. It can happen. We are all for it, or support it. The board decides to status quo needs to stay the way it is. And that will support that decision.
Our primary goal is to make sure people are recognized. And we'll be happy within whatever capacity we have to make sure that people who deserve recognition are brought forward and seen and hopefully get that recognition.
This is something that the BOD will decide eventually. It is a society level, not necessarily a Baronial level issue. However, it is something that we as individuals could support. We certainly do encourage those members who want to earn this peerage or to have this peerage created to become involved in all aspects of the society. You know, go for it, basically. You know, make your activities the best they can be. Show everyone that you are peers and that you deserve the recognition. I know there are several people who are working on that right now. If it's something that makes the SCA better, something that brings more people into this society, then we're all for it. I'm not sure that it's fair and fairness that we would be in a position to officially support it, but as individuals, we think that recognition is due where recognition is due. So.
And as somebody who is the recipient of the newest peerage, I do have some insight as to maybe some advice to give those individuals who are beginning to get frustrated. I could be, a nice ear, a nice shoulder, somebody that gives you words of wisdom and things to improve your standing.
We, as individuals, much as secondary, want to see people gain recognition as it is earned. We do not currently have any strong feelings regarding the order of Glaedenfeld, but we are watching the process. We do, however, feel, as Izzy and Corbin said, it is a society issue that the board will decide. So our personal feelings on the matter would not affect our actions as Baron and Baroness if we were the ones sitting at the time that it came closer to becoming a reality or not. What we would likely do is we feel in that role as our duty not to encourage or discourage, but to make sure that the populace has the information they need, maybe the informational session, Q&A, to understand what is being discussed, and know that all they're getting is to weigh in. A large part of how the body, a large something that the body will consider is commentary from the populace, and our populace needs to know how and have the information to provide them. And making sure that that is the case is what we would do regardless of our personal.
No, the Baronial tabloids tomorrow are not going to be able to have a great big banner. Fight breaks out at panel. You're not helping Baronial yellow journalists.
Hey, how much is involved in that?
I'm sorry?
How much is involved in that?
What? The fight breakout? I'm not paying you. I don't run the yellow journals.
Don't be exclusive.
This is question number 5. Will there be a barony champion, and will we have a special tradition to determine him or her? Heavy, rapier, archery, etc. And when I say customs traditions, do we have a special tradition if I jump that word? And when I say customs traditions, for example, if we hold the heavy champion tournament, will the winner be presented a sword that will be passed down from champion to champion? We're going to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, we would like to have a variety of champions. And what I would say would probably be championship tournaments at Irish Fair. And then the championship will be honored for a year until the next Irish Fair. We are looking at more than just martial arts champions. I think we need to encourage the pursuit of all activities and having champions in A&S or archery. That helps to promote those activities greatly. So for armored and rapier combat, we would want to see the person develop their display skill in all aspects of those activities. And I'm not as knowledgeable about A&S or archery, so I would probably trust you to organize those for me. But having those champions is important. I mean, being a barony, that's something that I think we're expected to do, and I fully support that.
And again, it goes back to not just recognizing those that are armored or regular fighters. It needs to be across the board. One thing that is called through the cracks here that I noticed in equestrian. We have an equestrian in our area. We need to recognize that and encourage that. As far as regalia goes, a lot of that would depend upon what the barony wanted to do. A sword for an armored champion and a rapier for a rapier champion would be very easy to acquire. A lot of it would depend upon what kind of money the barony wanted to put into it. A cloak would be something that the members of the barony could sell. I mean, that would be a fairly inexpensive way to recognize individuals. A belt token or medallions could be made for all the champions across the board so that they have something. Hey, do you remember when I won that tourney? Or do you remember when I was named equestrian champion or the brewing champion? Yes, brewing.
Yes.
It's something that they can look at and wear that belt token with pride and represent the barony across all of us.
So something significant that belongs to the barony, like a sword, that could be passed on from champion to champion, but also something smaller maybe that each one can keep, so that they can remember that event. So, yeah. All right.
I'm gonna start with a world of ditto. That was pretty much exactly what's been going through my head. Yes, we are interested in having champions. At a bare minimum, we would have a fighting champion and an AMS champion. And the fighting champion would not necessarily just be a heavy, would not necessarily just be a rapier. There would be probably an archery, thrown weapons, a range, a broad range that would probably cycle throughout the years. We've not worked out a lot of details, obviously. But if we are selected, we would actually work with the barony and basically come up with suggestions and ideas, and we would put together a plan that we would implement during the first year of our Baronage.
We want, what we do, we think the champions are very important, because as you mentioned, it is a great way, it encourages activity, it gives people something to strive for. But we also want whatever we come up with to be flexible enough to recognize different areas of interest as needed. As interest wane, gain, waxes, etc. So we're trying to be fairly flexible in our thinking about this, but we do think that champions are very important.
What they said. We are all about champions that in the past time, multiple Baronial champion in Glaedenfeld in the first incarnation. They're very, very cool. We are traditionalists though, and so our first thoughts were probably a baby champion, regular champion, an ANS champion, maybe a bard. We are certainly open to looking at other activities. We will encourage those and support them. We would like there to be regalia. Is over there puckering at the thought of spending more money. We might have to spend a little more money. You never know. We might get donations. Just let's see how that goes along. Where we kind of differ though is we would not co-opt the Irish Fair tournaments to select our champions. We would like our champions to be in-house. And have somebody from South go up here with the tournament and then not come back to any of our events for next year to be able to stick with us. Because we want to celebrate our people. We would probably look at keeping those the way they are or adding a prize that they have to defend and come back and return next year. If you are a champion, we're going to make you work. We're going to organize your successor hunting or your successor competition. And advise us on people you think are, did you hold the card? I'm sorry. Oh, a minute and a half, okay. Advise us on people you think, are up and coming, for the encouragement. And we are not above and beyond hosting a competition or a tournament and selecting a champion if that person did not necessarily have a tournament or competition. Right. So,
one of the things that we might also do is periodically appoint a specific champion. We'd like you to be our equestrian champion for golf course and represent us there, or an ANS champion to represent us at King Arthur Sciences.
All righty. Next question is number 1. How much will you be able to travel to represent Glaedenfeld?
We are looking at, we thought more about what type of events we would be attending. I'd say we're looking at probably on average 1.5 a month. Greg brought up the small child factor earlier, and we will be facing that. We also face the fact that we are a one-driver family, so we would need help. That said, the way we were prioritizing and what we were discussing is making it a point to attend. Obviously, Glaedenfeld events, duh. Kingdom level, at a minimum, we would certainly be doing coronations and crown lifts. We would love to do more for pageantry, etc. But we're talking minimums right now. After that, we would like to support the events of the smaller local groups around us. The physical person helps with that. And then we would, after that, start prioritizing where our populace is going, and obviously encouraging our populace to travel. If we have 6 people going to present at Midwinter or a Villanova fair, we would make special effort to be there. If we get lucky down for Panhandle, right, we make a special effort to get there. We can't make promises, small child factor.
Right.
But that's certainly how we would be prioritizing our time. Anything to add to that?
No, actually, that's pretty much everything in our notes. Yep.
I remember that.
Boy, howdy, have we traveled a lot. Since Fair Kingdom. Back before Annabelle came into our lives, it was not unusual for us to do 3 and 4 events a month. With her, we've obviously cut back, but we are now back to doing about 2 a month. And that can probably go up a little bit over the next little while. We generally go to every Kingdom level event, and we try to get as many local or regional events as we can. We're very flexible. If Mary requires us to go someplace special, like 50 years, we would love to do that. We also know that some of these travel priorities may change. We're prepared to deal with those as need be.
Go step that, baby. Depending upon the season, just to y'all know in here, Corbin and I travel a great deal.
Yeah.
Probably more so than just about anybody else in here. It's not very uncommon for us to attend 3 or 4 events in a month. We have started one weekend fighting at border raids in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and the next weekend we were down in the Panhandle at an Arabian Nights. That was a long weekend. But we don't have a problem. It gives us an opportunity to meet other people on the other side of the kingdom that we don't normally get a chance to see. We attend out of kingdom events fairly consistently. We've been to Candlemas, we've been to a couple of other Mineral events. We've been to a couple of Cape Wars. We are confident that we could represent disparity not just across the kingdom, but throughout the FCA. 50 years ago. After that,
Alrighty. One more question. Not that this is the last one. As you can tell from your notes. Didn't they take good notes with this? We tried. Number 15. And this is going to go to Greg Zep first. How do you want to fit this post of Baron or Baroness, or Baroness, into the officer structure of the group?
Good. Kapora seems to define Baron and Baroness as an officer position. It's predominantly a ceremonial position, and their major duties are offering advice and providing consultation to the crown and to the populace. We'll work with the Baronial officers if needed, but we don't intend to take over any of their responsibilities, step on their toes where they have to. We'd like to be copied on all the reports so that we can be a backup for accountability, and so that we're fully aware of what's going on in the group. So that if we're approached by the crown or the kingdom officers, we can tell them what's happening, what's going on. We would expect to attend officer meetings and have input on the financial committee, although we don't want to be signatories on the bank account. Our role within the Baronial mimics the crown's role within the kingdom.
I was checking to see if she wanted to speak.
Okay.
When we were nominated for this, I spent some time looking at what other Baron and Baronesses had said about what the office was. And the best definition I found was that the Baron and Baroness are the official representatives of the crown in this area of the kingdom. The Seneschal, the legal representative of the group. That's the legal face. We'd be just a pretty face with a mustache like that. The two offices would be to work together to build and maintain the group without interfering in the other duties. While the Baron and Baroness can advise and influence policy, which we think they are, they shouldn't use their position to strong arm changes to things that are the responsibilities of other governmental officers. The Baronial officers have their jobs. It's not the Baron and Baroness that are on benefits. And a lot of what Rick said, being copied about reports and such, like, so we have an idea of what's going on in the Baronial official states is important as well.
Yeah, the Baron and Baroness definitely need to be involved. I mean, there's definitely a sense of guidance there that needs to come from the Baron and Baroness. But again, as she said, you know, the official day-to-day running of the Baron, there are officers for that. And I really just don't think that the Baron and Baroness need to be petty dictators, you know, and try to run everything about the Baron. Keep them informed, let them know what's going on, make sure that the Baron and Baroness have a grasp of how things are running in the Barony, but they're definitely separate functions. So, that's all.
Had a conversation about this with a friend quite a few months ago that basically started with me asking, so what's your role as Baron? And the conclusion I came to after speaking with him, much the way he phrased it was, the Baron and Baroness are the ones that go, ooh, that's cool, let's do this. And as soon as y'all was wanting to go, okay, calm down. You are the ceremonial head, you are a public face, you do not supersede the officers, as everyone has already said. Those duties are pretty well outlined, and those officers are responsible for the day-to-day running, and you don't step on their toes. You don't step in unless you need to, which would be very rare. They got their jobs, they can do them. You do need to be informed, you need to be present at officer things, at financial committee things, because you do need to be able to act as witness and to know what's going on. As Chris mentioned, you are the Crown's representative and to some degree the Crown's eyes. I see it more as the provider of cohesive vision for your officers to sort of help you enact. Let's push that button.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not interrupting that.
Can't help that, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Question number 4. Given you will be the inaugural Baron Baroness, what traditions or customs would you like to see the group establish as a foundation for the Barony's identity? This will begin with, we're going to do this.
All right. Obviously, we've already touched on champions, and that would be something that we would encourage. Also, we'd really like to see more local functions that include a bit more pomp and ceremony. You know, we have our business meetings and our AMS nights, but having things happen in Glaedenfeld that really show that well, I've been off in ceremony. Things like a Baroness's Fest or a night that was a local event for us that showed kind of the higher functioning of the group. We also have the theme, the Athens of the South, playing to our identity. Obviously not at the expense of anyone's individual expression. But as each sitting Baron and Baroness also will add unique traditions, I think, over time. And some of those will stick, and some of them won't. And the identity for the Baron is going to arise, I think, organically over time from the different people who sit the Baronial seat. So as far as specific traditions and customs,
I think it's just going to depend upon who's sitting in the chair. They may have a certain vision. It may be something that's fixed, and it may be something that, it's going to develop over time. Traditions don't just occur.
You cannot force it. You can't just say, well, this is gonna be a tradition from here until the end of time. It doesn't work like that.
And two, a lot of y'all are gonna help us establish traditions.
But
As has been said, there are a lot of, there are a lot of potential traditions that would be really, really cool. But there's not a blessed thing that we can force.
Because cat herding.
And hey, something that I love and she loves, you guys may absolutely hate, and we'll suggest it, and you'll be like, no, I don't do that. But that said, something that is near and dear to my heart, the last 4 or 5 years that I've been in the SCA, I have really started to I've begun to come to love service. Not necessarily just, going out and doing stuff, but something needs to be done. Hey, let's jump in and do it. So what I would like to suggest as a possible, maybe tradition, but at least something to try once, is let's sit down and do one project per year, something that gathers all of us in, and that would benefit the crown directly, the kingdom directly, or one of the groups local to us, but not necessarily us. Some way that we as a group can give back to everybody else.
That pretty much covers the specific idea we were bandying about, and that's of course on top of the general things that are common to many baronies, such as champions, such as having a specific day social event where you do really cool pomp and circumstance things, etc. Which I think has been pretty thoroughly covered, and there's no reason for us to rehash the same ground. So we're done.
Here comes the process. Okay, in the effort to keep those on ready. One of the traditions that we would be interested in starting is a regular curio for a group of people in the area. At those curios, we would especially like feedback from you, positive and negative, about how the job is that we're doing, or other things the group needs to do. We'd also see making those be big vital practices, having potlucks, having classes, having recognition of people that deserve it. We really, really like the idea of having a vision for the new baroness. That way, people with more experience in territorial baronesses can come and tell them, hey, this is what you've got coming for you. This is what you should not do. Or anybody that's got it like that. It works for the period, so we think it's a good idea for the baronesses. We want to continue, I think, a tradition out of the hospitality that we did at the last where we had food and drink out for everybody all day. You could keep it under a separate tent, or you could put it under the Baronial Pavilion. We'd like to continue the work we've kind of started recognizing newcomers. Collecting the money to maybe offer to get them into events, things like that.
Awesome idea.
Yeah, awesome idea. We want to emphasize party activities, games, revels. We think that's an old school idea, but it's a great idea that we probably need to get back to, and hopefully everyone will agree. And we want to know what y'all want to do as traditions, because it's not all about where we're sitting in the chair. There are things that we do now we need to stop doing also. There are wonderful ideas that we haven't learned of yet that we need to start. So we want input. It's your group. You get a say in how it's run as well as we do.
Okay, we have one question left.
Don't tell us the number. Let us guess.
I do want to thank the Meridian Heralds. This is being streamed live out on the Meridian Heralds channel. And the Heralds moved their regular meeting that was supposed to be tonight tomorrow night so that this could be done.
Thank you for approving my hairy catfish badge.
That was number 17. So we're going to start with Lee and Juliana. Question number 6. What baronial officers do you think we need to add to our existing officers?
We had a couple of things that we thought of immediately. Mostly, though, we would need to, I think, discuss the structure of the heraldry office to handle the increased responsibility of holding court and keeping court records for the barony. And we would potentially consider adding a scribal office, which would be in charge of managing scrolls for courts. Overall, we pretty much have, I think, most everything in place that we need, and we don't want to just make change for change's sake. You know, if we need something, we'll add it, but pretty much I think that most all of these positions will kind of suggest themselves as they go along, as we go along as a group, I should say. But yeah, like I said, for the most part, the heraldry office, scribal office would be the big things.
The day-to-day running is pretty much handled. The officer structure accounts for that.
Right.
What we did not discuss is if anything needs to be put in place directly support the Baron and Baroness, travel coordinator, chancellor, or anything like that. And I think we would leave that up to whoever sits in the big chair. As far as the actual basic structure, most of it's in place. The reason we thought of Carrollton's Pride is because more will follow locally than has. And we would talk to those people to see if they really felt it was a need. They may not feel it is, if they feel they can do it independently. So, play it by ear. And we're done. Button.
Do you want to field this one, or would you like me to?
We don't really see a need for new officers at this time. Kingdom and society law don't require additional officers for baronies. And what we are doing now seems to be working. Although I did like the idea about maybe having some assistants in there for some of the increased work. Mostly what we, instead of thinking about new offices, is going back to something we said earlier, encouraging more people to step up as deputies for as many offices as possible, do a lot of cross-training, get people really familiar with what it takes to make a group successful. And if we can deputy pool, then we're going to have so many more talented officers to choose from that we won't have to worry about increasing the actual officer pool per se.
In keeping with what everybody else has said, I don't know that the baronial officers necessarily are what we're looking at. We're looking at what we suggest is coordinators. A regalia coordinator, which could handle the scribal issues with the scrolls and what have you, any regalia that should come up. The travel coordinator, which would fall under the Baron and Baroness. A royal liaison. Somebody, I realize that the Baron and Baroness are officially that royal presence, but you know, maybe somebody that can go in between, just in case. An entourage coordinator who's going to be behind the chairs. And something that Corbin and I talked about, and it could fall under the Chatelain's office, but I would kind of like to see it as a separate entity, an outreach director. What that outreach director would be responsible for would be responsible for coordinating with surrounding groups, getting in touch and finding out what activities Rising Sun is having, or what classes Crimson River is having, or a demo that Ezra is having. And encouraging the members of the barony to go and support these other growing groups and doing the best that we can to help them become strong and work in society.
Yeah, the existing officer structure for the group, as far as day-to-day running, that's, like I said, that's already, that's taken care of. And some of the things that we mentioned here, they could just be for an event, like the entourage coordinator. Just having a pool of people at the Baron and Baroness could say, hey, you're here at this event, and we could really use somebody just to corral people for our entourage at this one event. So they wouldn't all necessarily be permanent. You know, you're going to be the entourage coordinator, you know, all 4 years of the tenure. But aside from things like that just help make things easier for the Baron and Baroness, I think we're pretty well set. So.
As I said, that was the last question that came out of the hat. We are 2 hours in, so this is the time that we're going to take our break again. This will be a very short break. We'll come back and open the questions to the floor. We have time within our time. All right?
Yay.
We'll be back in just a few moments. Thank you very much for attending. This commercial break. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for more.
You know, I swear there just for a second, she was going to say, under the auspices of the scheduling, we're going to have an Assassin's Guild.
Talk about the Assassin's Guild.
More of that. Number one, man. I'm not that bad, but, well, I'm looking at it for some of it, because I was in here. You stand up and
We're gonna get back to going again. You want to hit the whole table?
Just gonna try and film the people asking and the people answering.
Why don't you hit the table over there? Because that's where the is.
All right.
Where to go? Your direction? Okay.
This way? Whoa. You want to turn it 90 degrees? That way she can just go from side to side?
It's still streaming.
Are you dizzy yet, Meridian?
You guys.
Fairness, Kiana.
You should keep your yay up better.
Ladies and gentlemen, under the rules that we published, we were going to take questions from the floor only if the previously submitted questions were exhausted. I have an empty hat. So we're going to open this up. I would remind everybody that we are still continuing to stream so that these questions can be viewed now. We will also, this is also being recorded, so this will be something that people will be able to go back and see later, which means it's going to be forever. We're going to follow the same procedure that we have so far, which means that we're going to continue walking through, which means that y'all are going to start with, oh, joy! Yes.
Oh.
So, I'm sorry? So, do we have any questions from the floor? We'll use the procedure of if I see your hand first, that's your call. Yes.
So do you see any conflict, and how do you plan to balance being the ceremonial head of the barony with your households?
One of the first,
Yes.
one of the first things that William and I did, because every household functions differently and considers fealty differently, was before we decided we would accept the nomination, is we gave our peers a call, and went ahead and spoke about this. We are members of House Ashley, based out of North Mountain. William is apprenticed to Mrs. Eleanor, I'm apprenticed to Mr. Oakmont. Sorry, Larry. It is the feeling of our household that service is an important part of what we do, and our household does not take precedence over that. We hold fealty directly to the crown, so we are not in conflict with our peers. And they're both of the opinion that service done is what is important, and how you choose to do it is up to you. And they both said, if this happens and you get this, that would be really spiffy, can we sew garbage stuff? I think it really matters household to household is something that we immediately talked out before we even accepted the nomination, specifically so we would ensure that we were not in conflict. And done.
What she said.
Oh, sorry.
It's me. Have you pushed the button?
I pushed it like a minute ago.
Okay. Wow, that's a hard question, and it's a good question. And given that our household is about half of the group most of the time, at least the extended household, it's a fair question. I have one associate in this group right now, and I don't think you have any in the group right now.
I don't think I have any active associates.
We released all the rest of them when they became peers to go and do as they would. They chose to hang around and not be associated with us. Good for them.
That's their fault.
That's their fault. I don't see it changing the way we treat anybody, the way we act toward anyone, we show favoritism. We don't now, because I don't think so. You know, it's pretty much a dog pit. You get in there and fight for what you want. If somebody comes and asks us what we think, we'll give you the honest opinion, no matter whose belt you wore or are wearing or anything like that. Our focus is always on the group succeeding. Trying to be as fair as possible toward everyone in the group.
And those associates that we do have had, will have, generally tend to be go-getters in and of themselves. We're here for guidance and support. I like to say that one of my jobs as a peer is to point out the dog poop before you step in it, and then teach you how to use a steam cleaner to track it into my house. We're more than happy to share that philosophy with anybody and everybody. But we expect our associates to walk their road, and we're there for guidance. And if we happen to be Baron and Baroness, everybody's our household. We're here to help out everybody and to show everybody how to use a steam cleaner.
I like that analogy. That's great.
I do have an associate in the Shire. I don't think that it will be a problem. Our household is more or less a fighting household. We'll take the trash out for you and, make sure it doesn't bother you ever again. It's interesting that you asked that question, because I'm getting ready to take a scholar or two at Magna Fair. So like I said, I don't know that it's going to be an issue. We treat everybody as if they were one of our own anyway. I teasingly called myself the mama marshal this weekend while I was marshaling. Everybody on that field was my responsibility. And I like to mama on people that I'm responsible for. Ask my students. But, and again, I don't see a conflict at all.
Yeah, I really don't see a conflict. The only thing that might potentially change, I think, is that our household might be doing more work, to support.
Did you get that, Dennis?
Yeah. That's really it. I mean, I don't see a conflict there. I think we already treat everybody fairly. I don't know that we show favoritism anyway. I mean, we try to help everybody we can help. If you're a member of our household, the expectations are just still going to be there, the same as they are now. At what you do, and we're there to help you with that. So, regardless.
All right, moving on to questions from the floor. Going once, played this game before. Mr. Steele?
Will there be enough time?
Oh, and this is coming to me first. Yes, right after happy hour ends.
No.
I hope so.
Where are you?
No. You gotta answer.
Does that complete your answer?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Nap time.
Yes, there'll be nap time every event because I say so.
Hour didn't go to your head already, did it?
The beard needs.
Yeah.
Volunteer to be nap time coordinator.
Well, evidently that needs to be an office we need to look into. Maybe we'll have a baronial nap time coordinator. Fiona bar! Pinkies and boots. Well, you know, she could do that while she could come up with us while she's napping.
I think we're done.
We will have nap time. It will come after happy hour. We will also be sure to implement, so that we may nap properly and with full stomachs, a proper office meal schedule.
Yes.
Your nap time will revolve around and the little one naps.
And also on a relatively serious note, if somebody starts getting grumpy at an event, I have absolutely no qualms about saying, okay, you, go.
Corbin, you gotta have nap time more often.
Yeah.
Involuntary nap time.
Yes. I think we're done. Sir Walter.
As Chickasaw of the group, in response to that last question, how do you intend to pay for said bunkies and cookies?
Thank you. This question belongs initially.
I have a daughter who crochets. I'll give her the yarn. She'll crochet you all the binkies you want. And it doesn't cost each other anything.
I have faith that everybody in this group would donate their time and money for the purpose of nap time.
Yes.
I know these people really well. I think that would not be a problem.
I have seen it happen. Okay. I have seen it happen several times. Somebody has come along and said, hey, we need X to do this job. And I think that if, as Baron and Baroness, we implemented nap time and we needed binkies and blankets, that we should go to the Wednesday night sewing circle and just say, hey, you know, we need this. Can y'all assist? I think that they would be more than willing to help out. And the two people who are primarily there as heads, they're back there nodding. So, yeah.
The nap time coordinator's in charge of binkies and blankies.
Exactly.
Yes.
If you can wake her up.
There is that.
Juliana?
we have quite the stockpile of binkies at the house. And thanks to the ever-loving Annabelle, I know where every cookie location, or cookie store, as she calls it, is within about a 30-mile radius of Nashville. So we shall take care of binkies and cookies with no cost to the group.
Wow. And I have finally figured out how to make chocolate chip cookies, so, I can make sure we have plenty of chocolate chip cookies.
You're on your own for the liquor.
We got that.
Okay.
That's what we're going for.
Yeah, that's rude.
How do you remember your model?
Okay, this group doesn't have this problem right now, but I've seen it in other groups. How would you handle interpersonal problems that begin to escalate?
This begins with a question.
I think we've already been discussed some, when we were discussing methods of,
Conflict management.
thank you,
Yes.
if there are words, and I catch them. Conflict management, a lot of it is, first of all, we treat people like adults. We're not your parents. We let people work things out among themselves first. When it bleeds over into the rest of the group and starts to become an essence problem, we start working up the chain of command as needed. We deal with each situation one-on-one. The trick is knowing when it's simply two people who don't get along versus something that is becoming greater and poisoning the group and stepping in before it does. We don't want to treat people like children.
Right.
Anything else?
Yes, actually, this is something that we took some pretty good notes on as we were talking. And we said, as Baron and Baroness, there are things that we should not get involved in unless they've first gone through the Seneschal or, through that natural pathway. And if an issue of that type comes to us, we will directly involve parties to the Seneschal if they haven't been that way yet. If the issue is affecting the health of the Baron account, we're both willing to step in as needed and deal with the issue in whatever manner is needed. And I added the line, be it knocking heads or directly mediate. We're willing to do whatever it takes to keep this barony healthy.
Keeping in mind that while we don't want to be named, the point is to keep the group healthy, not necessarily in that situation to keep the individuals involved happy.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, good.
Ooh, I sense a recurring theme tonight to this question.
I missed the first hour because of traffic.
Okay, that's good. The SCA has a grievance procedure.
Yes, it does.
The first step is, and what we would encourage you to do is go and talk to the other person. If you have some concerns about talking with that person, including a peer or an officer or even us, we would either be volunteer to be or find a mediator for you, a neutral party who could go and referee it out for you. If that doesn't work, then you get to go up the officer chain of command and you can petition the royals to intervene. We are tremendous believers in, if we have to solve the problem for you, we're going to solve it so that we don't ever have to touch it again. And people don't like that approach all the time because it doesn't usually go well for them on either side of it. Which is why we encourage you, hey, don't go on Facebook and put the problem out there for everybody. And B, talk to the other person. That's the most important thing. We're all friends here. We're all in a hobby. We're all here to have a good time. So if it's that big an issue that you just can't leave it alone, talk to them and then work through the proper chain.
We emphasize that because while we don't want to dwell on the past, that was where a lot of the issues came in the past, was people who didn't want to deal with it themselves or couldn't get past whatever issues they had with an individual. None of us likes confrontation. None of us likes having to sit down and say hard things to each other or hear hard things about ourselves. Where we noticed that the group was turning around was when we finally sat down and said, you know what? I heard a rumor that I did something that pissed you off. What did I do? How can I fix it? I am sorry. Are we okay? And inevitably that person would say, no, we're good. I don't know where that came from. It's really easy for those things to spiral out of control. And being willing to suck it up and have that conversation, as painful as it may be, in the long run is so much better than all of the fallout that comes as it rolls downhill or uphill or whichever way it goes, because it always goes sideways in nasty ways.
And don't write the board of directors first thing.
Oh, do not.
Just personal advice, experience there, don't do that.
Those are all really good points. There's not a whole lot to add to that, other than just, communication really is key. I know that there's going to be conflict. People's personalities clash. It happens. We're all here for the same reason. We're here to have fun. We're here to have a place to belong. I really encourage everybody to keep that in mind, and don't let drama and conflict ruin your fun. Don't let it ruin their fun. Go talk to them. If you need a mediator, get a mediator. Like they said, we're all adults, and we may not all be friends. I mean, there's no requirement for you to like me, or Izzy, or Griff, or anybody else in the group. But the expectation is that you at least make an effort to keep it fun. Anything else you'd like to add to
Like
that?
I said, follow the chain of command. We'll be more than happy to mediate if it gets to that point. I know in the past, if people have had an issue with something I've done, they come talk to me, we fix it. If I've had a problem with somebody, I'll talk to them, we fix it. That's what it's about. It's not about airing your social grievances on social media. It's about fixing the problem and talking face to face.
And just don't make me send the assassins, guys, because that's just. So.
And we won't bring cupcakes and Kool-Aid.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the floor?
All right, we've had some really heavy questions this evening. And now we can start.
Stand up.
She's gonna be.
She is standing.
Really?
I can't see.
If you end up as Baron and Baroness, that's gonna be a lot of work because that's how we designed the job when we wrote it out. What's one fun thing that you'd like to be able to do for yourself to help balance some of the work and seriousness of the job?
Giving awards. I so want to do that. I want to see people be recognized, and I want to know that I get to give you a spiffy because you did something awesome. That's what I want. That's what I want.
In that same vein, in a very serious issue, the greatest pleasure I have gotten out of the SCA is seeing my students get Glaedenfeld Peters recognized for all of their hard work and effort. And I think that would be the biggest joy out of this job, is seeing people get recognized. A not so serious answer, massages.
You already know I'm your senior associate, and that comes with the job.
And how many have I had?
You never sit still long enough. No, let me rephrase that. I never sit still long enough.
That's true.
Oh, you know you want to call forth the assassins.
Who needs a correction?
Yeah.
Having served behind the throne, that is the greatest joy, is watching people's facial expressions, the tears that go along with some people receiving their awards. there's, again, receiving the award is nothing. Watching other people that you care about getting an award and the shock and the joy on their face makes it worth everything. What other fun thing? Dadgummit, I want to look good. There better be all kinds of fluff and pretty, even though I don't do fluff and pretty, but there will be fluff and pretty.
Well, then you better start sewing those.
I better start.
We gotta get you out of pants.
To kind of add to that last, I think that just walking into pretty much anything, court, an overall party, walking into something like that with the entourage, with the group, looking good, just being that amazing presentation and having the pride of Glaedenfeld and being able to represent that with everybody.
Because we are French after all.
Well, yeah. That would just be really amazing for me to have that, to be around that ambiance, to have that presence. Also, I think a game night would be awesome because I love games. I don't get to do that nearly enough. So I'm going to conscript people to come play games with me on the bear.
You will be coming to my house and playing games tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Bring a friend.
Yes,
Whoa, we don't have those kind of parties in our house. Sorry. We don't have those kind of gay parties in our house. No.
Give a tail on the what? Are you spit take?
She's so close.
There's nothing prohibiting spit takes in the rules. Okay, I would just like to state that I think the awards would be one of the coolest things because I have done Mr. Spianovar's brewing competition at Irish Fair 3 years running now, and the look on that person's face when you're sitting there adding up the scores and you've got all these brewers kind of standing around, and that one brewer realizes, cool! I just like that. And you know, of course, the prize for them is a big bucket of booze, but you know, and so you know they're gonna have a lot of fun with that. But just the idea of having these people come up who have no idea why they're coming up. I still remember getting my AOA many years ago. I got called up into court. I'm like, why am I coming into court? But I don't do court. I hate court. And you know, actually the Baroness of Forest Mountain sits me down and says, you know, it's come to our attention. I know, it's come to my attention that you've done this really cool stuff. And I was like, really? I didn't know. I was just doing what I do. And it's one of those things that I want to see people recognized for doing what they do. And I think that's going to be one of the coolest things about this job.
Okay, he covered awards, and I talked earlier about how I almost cried because I discovered polling orders and you to be up there and people get stuff. And it's cool. That's covered. Random fun stuff. Old school rebel. Music, dancing, lights low. Let's have some food and lots of sitting around giggling and hanging out.
And booze. Don't forget the booze.
Is that all the booze? Booze. But also, you know, we had talked about, like in many of the regional practices, Saturday where we all get together and play, I don't know, bocce ball and just hang.
Yeah.
Because we're friends and we get along with each other. And it's fun. Yeah. Bocce ball, game, whatever. That's all.
Another question from the audience? Going once?
Do we have anything from the web?
I'm sorry?
Do we have anything from the web?
That was not on the audience.
Can I ask a question? You know,
Yes, of course.
She's
No.
You're on the floor.
no.
Fiona, we want pictures of you. It'd be good for our ratings.
Everybody get your cell phones out. Let's just video John asking this question. That would be great.
It's a serious question. I have a picture. Anyway, I have a serious question. Most of you have been around crowns and been part of entourages and stuff. And this might be too personal, y'all kill me if it is, but have you considered your financial situations? It can be quite expensive to be in this role, and 4 years is a long time. So I hate to see somebody not have as good a time because of something happened. Is that a fair question?
Yeah, absolutely fair.
I don't know who was next.
I do. Mr. Corbin, that's
We just recently went through a bout of hardship with our house and our cars,
All at once.
where everything just kind of exploded. And it put a strain on our finances there for a bit. But, you know, we've been doing this a while. We've committed quite a few resources to it already. And, you know, we both have fairly stable jobs. We're both, you know, we're slowly getting the kids out of the house, so we don't have to feed them,
Yay.
you know. But, you know, is it a concern? It's always a concern. You know, finances can change. You know, I could get run over by a bus tomorrow, and, you know, you just never know. But I think so far, so good, and I think we'll probably be okay if we took on that role.
I think too, another thing to consider is that when everything was breaking all at once, we both had the wisdom to look at our SCA event calendar and say, you know what, we can't do that. I really want to go to this event. We really need to save the money and build our savings back up and our finances back up to get on more stable ground. It comes with the wisdom of knowing when to find that balance. We've talked about the balance before. That kind of goes in line not just with your time in the SCA, but your finances as well. Pay bills first. Whatever else is left, you know. And again, we fund a fairly busy travel schedule anyway, so you know we understand what it takes.
Okay, I think pretty much we're in the same boat, essentially. We are,
well, right now we're doing a lot of budget jiggering anyway. Turns out daycare is expensive. That's been educational. We are both in a fairly stable position now. We've been actively saving. There are some longer term goals that we may have to push back a little, but we have looked at our finances. I think it's a little tight, but we are in a position to do this. The greatest cost outlay for us initially would not so much be travel, but getting ourselves looking appropriate and fit. It can be done. And we're as stable as anyone can count themselves in this day and age.
pretty much, yeah.
Regarding jobs, etc. Anything else we should add to that?
No, I think that about covers it.
Okay.
The serious answer is, my job's not going anywhere. I don't think hers is going anywhere. I am fortunately the king of job security right now, so that's not an issue for me. Financially, we are very stable. We don't have any money concerns. We're not rich, but we're far from being poor, thank goodness. The flippant answer is, I've got a blonde-headed girl child I can sell if I need It would only be an emergency stress. Renter, gotcha.
Y'all are out of the running now.
There's a reason I nominated your wife first.
No, we won't sell her, we won't rent her.
We
We
might,
might, find an agent for her and let her support us.
Yeah.
That's entirely different.
Great idea.
Be managers. keep her under our control. No, we're good. Daycare is expensive. It gets a little bit less as they get older. And, you know, if something happens, if expenses come up, then we'll maintain flexibility, we'll adjust as needed. If it looks like we're not gonna be able to do the job for the extended time because of an unexpected occurrence, then we'll come to you guys and let you know. And the group will take care of what needs to be taken care of. We are not going to, we're not gonna destroy our finances. Much as we wanna be Baron and Barons, you know, nobody should destroy their finances for that, because there are too many people who are willing and capable and more than willing to step up and do the job. But, you know, at this point in time, we're good. And we don't foresee any issues coming up anytime in the near future. And we will try and be sensible. No, you can't buy with your drug.
She also knows I have really good life insurance, so. Yeah, so you didn't laugh at that one. I'm concerned.
Yeah, the creek is not big enough, so you can't buy the pure drop.
Okay.
Plus you made that crack about the baby, that's why no one laughed.
Okay. Yeah, more questions you want to ask?
Are you guys planning on going to Men Here and Midsummer this year?
It starts with.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. We're even bringing small.
Yes.
That's pretty, it's a yes.
Very nice.
That was my favorite band. I can't top that.
She doesn't vote.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
All right, we've lost all but one person. I don't know, is it a 1 or a 7? Oh, no, they're all gone now.
Are they? Oh,
Yeah.
What's no longer open? I said it for like 4 hours.
Probably because we got down to some trivial questions. Like-
No, I mean, she said the stream feed isn't live anymore.
No, the feed is
There
live.
was first comment about the lady.
It says it's live.
Not new much?
Do we have any more questions from the floor? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. This closes the questions from the floor. I want to thank everybody in the panel. We have one more question left that we're going to do after we. Okay. Thank everybody for attending. You've been a wonderful audience. It's been great letting these people come in here and hear their answers. You've been good about listening to them, because this is a very important part of what we all do. Thank you. Again, to insist one way or the other. So I really appreciate all of that.
Are we doing closing statements?
That's right. We need to do closing statements, and then you want to do your question after? Yes. All right. So the last one went to Juliana. So closing statements.
Closing statement. Well,
This is 5 minutes.
You know what the best part about this is? Our part's done. And now, the hard part falls to all y'all. A whole lot of stuff to think about, a whole lot of stuff to laugh at. You can tell we each have a slightly different approach to how we play the SCA, how we want to do things. And it's your job to consider what we've all said, what you think about it, and tell the Crown who you think can best represent you in their stead. Glaedenfeld is our home, and you are our chosen family. Stephanie and I have been incredibly fortunate to be able to be stewards for this group, and we really look forward to the opportunity to do that on a more formal basis. We hope that you want us to have that opportunity, and we thank you for giving us that opportunity. We thank you for everything you've ever done for us.
And we'd also like to thank everybody who has helped out. I speak for women in Norway as well. Thank you for assisting with the bandinas. Thank you. Appreciate it. We know we're going to be calling on people in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, whoever. There's going to be times when we desperately need your assistance, and no matter who gets it, we all thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything.
I know that the closing statement is supposed to be that last great big push on why we would be worthy candidates. And I don't know that I want to do that. Really. I remember running for a student council office, and the girl that I was running against popped balloons, and that's why she got the office. It wasn't because of the speech either one of us gave. It was because she had that shtick. I don't know that she did.
No, you.
No, I should have. I don't know that anybody in this room is a loser. You have nominated 3 magnificent couples, if I'm going to say so. And anybody in this barony is going to gain. It doesn't matter who is put in the job. Y'all have to pick which couple's going to serve it best. If that would be me and Corbin, woohoo! If it's Griffin Steph, woohoo! If it's Juliana and William, woohoo! We all win. Do what's best for the barony of Glaedenfeld. It's hard for me to not say Shire of Glaedenfeld, because that's what it's been since I came to the SCA. This is where I started. It is the barony of Glaedenfeld, and don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise.
Since I have been here, as I think I mentioned before, I feel like I've grown a lot. I know that the Shire, soon to be barony, has grown a lot, and I'm just really proud of you guys. I'm proud of everybody in the Shire barony. To be up here, to be considered worthy of this, it's mind-boggling to me.
Because it's him.
I mean, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would never have expected this. I would never have expected to be up here. Sitting here with these generals, I just really, it does boggle my mind, it really does. But I want to thank you guys, I want to thank everything that's been done to make this happen. However it turns out, as she said, there are no losers here. So, that's all I got.
Don't cry, will you?
I get some fun.
I'd just like to say that when we came to this area 7 years ago, almost 8, 7.5, anyway, a long time ago, we came to this area and we did not move within the boundary of Glaedenfeld. I have to say, almost 8 years later, I've got a family. And you guys are just awesome, amazing people. You've helped me grow. I've helped y'all grow. We've worked together to become this group that's about to take this huge, amazing step into a bigger, more amazing, and more fun world. And it's been said already, and I apologize, I'm going to repeat it again. There's no bad people up here. If you pick them, if you pick us, I think it's going to work out, because
we're all a family and we know what we need to do.
I started in the SCA. It's a very, in college, and it's a very, very shy student.
You're not a college student. Sorry. Still shy. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm in college, I spent a year here. And school, I came back here, and it was like returning home. And it's in this group that I really moved from being more fringe and more flighty young 20s. Please thank you guys for not judging me on my mid-20s. I appreciate that. And really started to find my feet and figure out my own direction. And to have a group that has supported me, that has allowed me to grow, that has become my family, and now would even consider trusting me with this kind of responsibility is mind-boggling and appreciated. I would be honored to have after this, but the fact that anyone even looked at us and said, you know, you might be good at this job, in and of itself makes me feel amazing. And you're not going to lose whichever of the three of us you go with. It's clear to me that we all have great plans, it's a different style, but in a lot of ways we all sort of think alike as well. But we all three want to see the best for this year, and that's what's going to happen. Yes. Thank you for the thoughts. Let's do this thing.
And that's it for our closing statements. Again, I want to thank everybody for attending. Our panelists. We're going to shut off the stream now.
Want to wait just 1 second? Let me make the statement.
Kind of wanted to echo that. Thanks everyone for showing up. I want to thank everybody that has tuned in for the live feed, and anybody who's actually sat through the 3 hours of tape to watch this in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yay. You made it to the end.
I also want to take this for just a second and show how many people showing up for a 3-hour long-winded meeting on a weeknight before Thanksgiving. Which is a small portion of Glaedenfeld. There's a great big bigger portion out there. After tonight, after this meeting, my understanding is that those folks that want to maintain their nomination will go over to Crown. Crown has the option to mail out a ballot and get a popular vote. If you receive that vote, if they go that route, you receive it, that's your power. That's what you get to decide by what they said tonight, by your personal experience with these folks. That is your power. That is your suggestion to the Crown for who you want to sit in that chair. Remember, it is the Crown's decision. It's not necessarily the popularity vote. It's not necessarily, it's the Crown's decision. That's it. The last question that's going to be asked tonight, I want to let this stay on record because I want the question to be asked for the record. But then, once you hear the question, I want to shut this off because we've been public with everything else. This last little bit will be just the family. And come to us and ask us about that. But I want to ask the question, we'll cut the feed, and then I want this final question answered by the nominees. The question will be to the nominees. Do you still want this job? Do you still accept this nomination? Do you want your name to be submitted at the end of this meeting? Cut that feed, please.